Now, up next is a topic that does not polarize opinion at all. A topic that everybody agrees on 100%. A topic where there are no two opinions. Well, actually, I'm telling a complete lie, because few things polarize opinion more than our next topic. The Metaverse. Yay. NFTs. Hurrah. No? Yes? Maybe. But this is it. It's one of two things. And we've heard these terms before. Are they a completely brand new technology paradigm that is going to change how we store data on the blockchain? Or is it just a fad with JPEGs involved? Is the Metaverse, is it just a playground for San Fran types? Or is there a genuine business case and real-world applications for people, entrepreneurs, and businesses? And if you are a business already, do you need a Metaverse strategy, or is it just a distraction? And can NFTs have real-world value and/or applications? Let's have a chat about this. And in order to have this chat, I'm going to bring up some panelists who are very involved in the space. In no particular order, to your applause and to your appreciation and to your Sharjah welcome, let's bring up the Chief Metaverse Officer of Verse Estate, Leila Herstel. Leila, if you'll come on up, give her a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. You guys are great, thank you. Again, in no particular order, let's bring up the founder of Vault Hill Metaverse, Jimmy Dowdu. Jimmy, coming up. Jimmy's smelling very nice today. Make sure you ask him where he gets his perfume. I'd also like to bring up all right, I was just checking availability. Now I'm going to bring up award-winning contemporary and NFT artist Crystal Bechara. Crystal, coming up. Come on, people, let's get up with the applause. Up next, we're bringing up serial tech entrepreneur, futurist, Metaverse expert, and managing director for Holofair, Ahmed Tamimi. Coming up, sir. Now, ladies and gentlemen, the piece de resistance, the cream on the cake, as it were. What we need is somebody who will knit this all together and who will lead this conversation. And for that, I'm going to invite up the advisor to Elysium Ventures and Chief Metaverse Officer for Cybergear, Mr. Sharjah Agarwal. So, over to you.
Thank you, Hisham, for that warm introduction. Okay, let's have some fun. We are going to have a chat with some friends who are here. And after that, we'll give you a chance to ask any questions. And let's make it interactive, educational, and fun, like I said. So let's do the introductions first. And I'll go first. My name is Sharjah Agarwal, the Chief Metaverse Officer of Cybergear. It's an agency I started 26 years back. And I have to tell you this story. When I started Cybergear, G-E-A-R, the Economic Department of Dubai issued me an automobile trade license because I had gear in my company name. And I told them internet. They said, "Shu hada internet." Okay, so I am a Web1 guy, 26 years in the business, and now I do Metaverse, NFT, and all the Web3 stuff. That's my introduction. I'm going to go around the room and request my panelists to introduce themselves in 2 minutes each, please, because we have a lot of talking to do. We'll start with Jimmy.
Hey, thanks for the opportunity to be here. My name is Jimmy Dowdu. I'm the founder, CEO of Vault Hill, where we're building the world's first human-centric metaverse. Our USP is simple. We bring brands into the metaverse within 48 hours, looking at a couple of things and pillars such as brand activation, customer acquisition, retention, and revenue. And it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you.
Thanks, Jimmy. Let's go to Leila.
Hey everyone, super excited to be here. Thanks for having me on this panel with incredible panelists.
Lela, can you go again? We can't hear you.
Yeah. Hello? Yeah. Okay, now works. Hey everyone, I'm super excited to be here and thanks for having me on this incredible panel. I'm the Chief Metaverse Officer at Verse Estates. We're a hyper-realistic metaverse and now we're building a full digital world which encompasses all types of major industries ranging from healthcare to retail, to luxury products and fashion. So if you ever want to transition to the metaverse, you're more than welcome. And as well, I'm the founder of All Stars Women DAO, which is an investment DAO, an initiative to help close the gender and funding gap in the Web3 and the tech space. So we have a full community in almost all of the continents now. And yeah, so if you want to join, you're more than welcome to come and speak to me later on.
Thanks, Lela. Crystal, your introduction, please.
Hi, everyone. Beautiful crowd. So my name is Christelle Bshara. I'm a visual artist. I came to the NFT space around 2 years ago. Traditionally, I work with paintings and I do as well digital art. And this is how I consider my studio and my art as a career, as a business. And this is why I adopted the NFTs. I work out of my studio in Dubai, and I have a fantastic team that helps me do what I love for a living. Happy to be here and to share my experience with you.
Thank you, Crystal. Let's go to Ahmed.
Hello, everyone. My name is Ahmed Tamimi. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Holofair. First of all, I'm happy to be with you, everyone, with a great panelist here, and for this opportunity. So Holofair is a business that started 3 years ago, during the COVID-19, and was started as a virtual event platform, as a 3D virtual events platform. And then later on, overnight, I would say, when the metaverse came in, so we are already there in terms of technology. We serve the corporates, government entities, and enterprises, anyone who's looking to have an experience or events in the metaverse. So we are the one that who's hosting these experiences. Thank you.
Thank you, Ahmed. Okay, so now we are going to start by discussing our topic, which is Metaverse and NFTs 101, which means I'm going to ask the audience a very simple question. On a 1 to 10 point scale, I want you to rate yourself in terms of your understanding of the metaverse. So first, if you think you are from 0 to 5, please raise your hand. Okay. And 5 to 10? 11. Okay. I will ask you all the difficult questions. Don't go away. All right. So I think it's almost evenly split. Let's go around the room and attempt defining the metaverse. And I'll go first. In my opinion, metaverse is a metaphor. What do I mean? Metaverse can be whatever you want it to be. It's up to your creativity and your imagination. There is no one single unique definition of metaverse. If I ask each one of you to define metaverse, trust me, you will all write it differently. Am I right, Jimmy? Right? So, again, metaverse, in my opinion, is what the internet was supposed to be. It was supposed to be a level playing field where all of us, as creators of content, would get rewarded for our efforts. And guess what? It did not happen. In Web 2, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok, all became billionaires, right? You agree? And we, the people, all of us, made nothing, zero, zilch, nada, nothing. Now times are changing. Good news is here. Web 3 has come. It's the creator economy, which means all of us will own our content and we can monetize it. I'm not going to talk more now, but I'll come back on that to give you some examples. I'm going to head over to Jimmy on that side, because Jimmy is one of the very few people in the UAE who has already built a metaverse. He has actually built metaverses. And I'll allow him to explain what he has built. And Jimmy, please take at least 4 to 5 minutes to explain to our audience your whole journey, when you decided to get into the space, what was your big idea, where have you got in terms of development, and where are you going with this? Over to you.
Thanks for that. Very generous on the timing, by the way. Speaking of UAE, we're actually in Block B, actually, here as well. But we also have an office in Dubai, Silicon Oasis, and a branch in the UK and a branch in Nigeria, servicing Africa. Just from a journey perspective, so I got into the blockchain space as a retail investor back in 2017, 2018, when the likes of Ripple, XRP, Bitcoin came out, and I was like, ooh, okay, interesting technology. Being Nigerian British, I was born in Nigeria, grew up, and then immigrated to England. And for me, sending money back home was always a challenge. And with the advent of Ripple, they were solving a cross-border payment issue, and that got me really hooked up on cryptocurrency. So I bought a couple, made some money, lost some money, made some money, and I think overall I still lost money. I'm just joking. I think I'm still average, I think. But at the time when I got into the space, the advent or the creation of virtual land came about. And at the time, it wasn't even called an NFT, but being Nigerian, the concept of virtual land wasn't foreign to me. I mean, in the UAE, you either buy a flat, or you buy a villa, or you buy, a townhouse, or all of that. It's all finished. But the likes of Damak, Imar, they buy the land and then they develop on it. So same concept as virtual land. And because I understand the concept coming from Nigeria, when I found out about it in 2018, I was like, okay, let's dabble into this. A couple of lands in Decentraland, Sumium Space, they were going for about $200 a pot, and I bought a couple. Fast forward 3 years later, one of those pieces of land sold for $10,000. And I was like, what's going on here? How'd you make that much ROI in 3 years? And for me, it wasn't the money, it was value. It was value that someone or a couple of people placed on that virtual asset. And it got me intrigued to think about, how can we expand on this? What is the use case? How can we bring about value, creation, economic value? How can we bring, and to Sharad's point earlier, how can we diversify and give content creators ownership to be part of that billions that the Web 2 tech folks made? And it got us thinking about research. How are the current competitions doing it? What can we do better? What is our unique proposition? And that birthed Voltail, where we took 7 out of 16 basic human instincts, things that make you and I human. So things like vitality, creativity, idealism, romance, play. And those are the concepts and districts we've built within Voltail City. And we're lucky and fortunate enough to have signed Wipro, the big Indian global consultant, as one of the clients. And we just built a Wiproverse for them about 4 weeks ago, and it had the presence of Sheikh Hamdan and Sheikh Maktoum in the metaverse, exploring what that looked like. So again, we're starting to look at how brands can tap into the space and start to evolve what that looks like. Now, we started off with virtual reality, building with Unreal Engine. We're pivoting to web using 3JS. So again, anyone that doesn't have a virtual reality headset can come into the space. From an economy perspective, we built an NFT marketplace, so content creators can actually trade on there. We also have a cryptocurrency token which powers the utility and transactions therein. So again, creating that economic value. And then lastly, we have Voltail Studios, where we've created actually that arm where we handhold people to understand how you can come into the metaverse through 48 hours, which is our unique proposition. And we're coming into the metaverse, you get a piece of virtual land, you get a building, you get that deployed, and you're able to upload your logo, your NFTs into that building as a start. And then we take you on a journey through customer acquisition. So how do you use the metaverse, and how do you use this brand you've activated into generating profit, into generating outreach, into increasing brand equity? We work with you on that journey. And then we look at revenue. You spent money on brand activation, you spent money on customer acquisition. How do you now get money back? And we work with you through a number of strategies, such as ticketed events. And the last for us is retention. How do you keep people coming back into the metaverse? We keep talking about the metaverse not having numbers, but on the contrary, you know, the guys that have the Sharjah Entrepreneurial Festival organizers, they've organized this event, they've brought us in here, they've actually marketed it, they've publicized it. If they set up this stage and they invite you and I, no one will be here. Same concept at the metaverse. Once I build my brand into the metaverse, I need to constantly keep activating it. I need to keep constantly inviting people to come in. When I release a new product, I need to talk about it and invite people into the metaverse. So that's how we look at retention, and we do that through incentivizing people to come back through brand partnerships through our utility token. Thank you.
Thanks, Jimmy. So how can people experience your metaverse? Where do they have to go to?
Vaulthill.io. So
Yes.
Vaulthill and .io.
Vaulthill.io. Connect with Jimmy on LinkedIn.
Correct.
He's very active, and you can learn a lot from Jimmy. Now I'm going to pivot to Leila, and before I give her the mic, I have to share this story with you. Last year sometime, there was a huge metaverse conference at Museum of the Future, right? You must have read or heard about it. Leila was supposed to be one of the speakers on stage, but she was not allowed by the authorities to take the stage because she was underage. She was only 20. And Dubai Tourism Board has some crazy rule that you have to be 21 to take the stage in Dubai, which they have since changed. So I'm introducing to you the Gen Z of the industry. Leila Hurstel, talk to us about what you have built in the metaverse and what you are doing with your DAO.
Thank you, Sharad, for this really nice introduction. And yeah, so my explanation and my take on the metaverse, I'm gonna try to keep it, as brief and simple as possible because it's easy to get confused. Actually, the more I read about the metaverse and Web3, the more confused I get because there's so much information and different, opinions because it's still quite an immature market. But usually when I speak to people about the metaverse, they often ask me where. But actually, it's not a place, but it's more of an experience. I would say the metaverse is a collection of a multitude of 3D, immersive, interactive worlds, and each has their own use case. There's metaverses which target more mature audiences. There's experiences which target more younger audiences. I'm sure you're all familiar with platforms like, for example, Roblox. I'm sure there's some of you who have like nephews or siblings which play on Roblox. So, for example, let's use the business use case of Nike. Nike, they created their microverse. And I think the reason why they were so successful in attracting like over 7 million people from like 200 different countries is because they entered the right metaverse with the right experience for the right audience. Nike wanted to sell NFT sneakers, and their audience is quite, young, so that's why they did their experience on Roblox. So I think it's all about, first targeting your proper audience, and then thirdly researching all of the virtual worlds that are out there, and then, establishing your presence in them and making sure that the community which you build around your experience, they value, their missions are aligned with your experience, and you appeal to their business use cases and what they believe in. So that's my quick take on the metaverse.
Yes, and how can people find you on Verse Estate? What's your URL?
Yeah, you can find me on LinkedIn, actually, just my name, and then within my LinkedIn you can check, there's Verse and the other projects I'm working on, and yeah.
Yeah, thanks, Leila.
Sure.
I'm going to head to Crystal. She is an amazing artist. If you don't already know, please check her out. She has been exhibiting in galleries around the world. She's based in Dubai, and I'll let her explain how she got into this space. And before that, please explain to the audience what are NFTs in very simple layman terms. Thank you.
Thank you, Sharad. So, yes, I've been an artist for a decade now, and I've been exhibiting around the world through galleries who they were able to represent me in different exhibitions in Tokyo, in Brussels, in Milan, and France. And I do my own shows here in Dubai. I take part of also group shows in Dubai and where I'm present myself. I work with digital art as well as paintings. So for me, when I came with one signature style that is unique to me, people started to recognize my work. I started selling through Instagram and then my website, and then galleries were finding me through Instagram and getting in touch. And this is how I grow organically. Fast forward a couple of years, I had my studio here. It became more of a business, a career, and in 2021, early 2021, a friend of mine just explained easily what NFTs are and how actually artists and creators can benefit from that, what it gives digital artists specifically. Because for me, I've been working with digital art for many years before that, and at every gathering, every exhibition, I needed to explain a lot about my digital art. I needed people to understand that this is me who worked these artworks. It's not a filter, it's not a software that create this art. This is me creating the art, similarly to how I paint. And I used to show them next to each other so that people can take seriously these prints that had to be printed on canvas for them to be able to purchase and hang in their wall and enjoy the art. When the NFTs started, NFTs means non-fungible tokens, which means it gives digital art this aspect of ownership. So usually digital art or any digital asset which is online, anyone can save it, anyone can have it, share it, but it wasn't possible to own it. So similarly with digital art, it was online, my work was online, people can print it, they can only own it if they buy my prints. But now with the NFTs and the blockchain technology, they can actually own the digital asset, the original source file, and they can be the only owners of that. And this is just like owning a physical art, they can own the virtual art. This is major. This development of this technology is so. It's something that I needed it in my career, in my work, and now I don't have to defend my digital art anymore. There's a huge demand actually on digital art now, especially in my work, and I don't have to defend it. It's now became an art in itself, and this what it should have been like before even this technology. But now it addresses this, like for collectors who have issues with scarcity and transparency. Now they can own this digital art.
Amazing, thank you, Crystal. So where can people see your art? What's your website?
So I'm Cristel Bshara on Instagram, LinkedIn, and Twitter, and my website is Atelier Cristel, where I have my shop also online, and my studio in Dubai is available for anyone to come and just look at my art.
Thank you. Before I go to Ahmed, so how many of you understand the concept of NFTs? Raise your hand if you think you understand NFTs. Okay, pretty good. So NFTs are, I'm addressing the ones who don't understand it, okay? So forget the jargon. NFTs are digital collectibles, okay? That's the simplest definition. Now, when you talk about the metaverse or NFTs or Web3, there is a lot of jargon. There are a lot of technical terms, right? All of you in this room have to start familiarizing yourself with all these terms. So we have created a glossary of NFT, Web3, Metaverse terms, which each one of you can download from our website. You can go to cyber-gear.io and download for free. What's interesting is that these are updated every 2 weeks because this industry is moving at the speed of thought. New terminologies are coming in play on a daily, weekly basis. So if you are serious of either investing or getting into this industry, you have to start educating yourself on an ongoing basis, right? So that's a tip I can share with you. And by the way, I will be talking about the metaverse in detail at 3 p.m. in one of those rooms there. So if any of you are interested in joining me, you are happy to come in, and I'll guide you in terms of a lot of use cases, how you can use metaverse to improve your life. Okay? All right. Let's go to Ahmed. Ahmed has already built a metaverse, and if any of you are interested, he has a stand just behind the screen. So you can visit his stand, you can see what he's building, and he showed me some of the stuff. I'll let Ahmed explain to you what he's actually doing. Ahmed, please.
Sure, thank you, Sharjah. All right, so starting from the metaverse definition, right now if you go to Google, just write metaverse meaning. So you'll see on Google that metaverse, anything that you can interact with a virtual environment and interact within the users inside the environment. So it's basically two conditions. Condition one, you need to interact with the 3D environment, and you need to interact with the people inside the environment. So that means you need to see the people inside the environment. So just like to start from the definition for the metaverse. Now, since we are working with governments, corporates, a lot of them, they come to us and they ask, we need to do something in the metaverse, but we don't know what to do. Like, should we do an event? Should we do like a customer support center? They have no idea. They just want to do something in the metaverse. So then we come and consult them. First of all, what are the use cases that you can do in the metaverse? Then what is the right platform that it can help you achieve that goal? So starting from use cases. Usually what we tell them, are you looking for internal or external use? By internal, I mean, is the enterprise, like let's say some enterprises, they have 5,000 employees or 10,000 employees, maybe international or maybe even locally. They want to do maybe some sort of engagement between their employees to like encourage their team building activities, to like ice breaking, or it could be even like orientation day for the employees. So we've worked with some banks where it's very difficult to have the new employees and join, understand the process. So we did the orientation day for the metaverse as one of the use cases. Some other government entities where we did the training for all the employees in the metaverse. And they learn about the metaverse inside the metaverse platform. So these are different of use cases. This is for the internal. For external, it could be used as a space to manage your community. So metaverse is not something just to showcase your product and service. It's like Instagram. You need to think of it as Instagram. Where Instagrams, you have followers, you have likes, engagement. It's the same thing on the metaverse. You need to build that community from events, from like activities, games, and so on. So it's a space for community, and the best platforms like the open metaverse platforms for that, to build community and so on. Now, choosing the right platform, there are different kind of metaverses. There's like open metaverse, there's a private metaverse. So by open metaverse, I mean like you've heard of Sandbox, the Central Land. These are open metaverse. Even Vault Hill is considered as public open metaverse. I think I'm right? Yeah, correct. These are open metaverse. And of course, each type, they have their own advantage and disadvantage. So for the open metaverse, you have like a public community where you need to buy a land in this platform, and you'll get a public community, and you'll be bounded by their infrastructure and rules of this open platform. But the advantage is that you can get the community. You don't need to worry about the campaigns and marketing and bringing your community because it's already there. The second type of the platform is the private metaverse. And the best ones is that like Spatial, Verbella, I'm not sure what else, but these are the ones in my head.
Holofair.
Holofair.
No, not yet, not yet. I'll come to that.
Okay, it's almost time for you.
All right, I'll wrap it up. So these are the private metaverse. Basically, you have your own space, just like YouTube video. In YouTube video, you have like a video, and then you can invite people to your video to get like subscribers and views. So these are kind of private metaverse platforms. Now, where Holofair comes in on the intraverse category is basically it's a mix of both. And at Holofair is a platform like considered as WordPress, and where you have the option to build an open or a private metaverse in Holofair. It's like a WordPress tool for the metaverse, for the Web3. And this is why we have a flexibility in the infrastructure, and this is why we have like contracts with governments, corporates, because of that.
Yeah, thanks, Ahmed. That was a great explanation of what Holofair is about. Do check him out in his stand just behind the screen. Now, we don't have so much time, so I'm going to take a few audience questions. But before that, how many of you have attended meetings on Zoom in the last 1 week? Raise your hand. Zoom?
What's the
Okay.
question?
How many of you have attended meetings using Zoom? Right? Most of you. How many of you have attended meetings in the Metaverse? Just say. So, guys, Zoom is Web 2. Web 2. Web 3 is having meetings in the Metaverse, like Spatial, Meetup.com, Journey.live. Just Google it. There are loads of platforms for free. So invite your friends, family. I'll share the links with you, but it's Meetup.com, Spatial.io, Journey.live, YouAreNowhere.com. There are so many. Google it, okay? Try it out. It works for free. You can open an account. You can create your avatar in 60 seconds. Technology exists. You can send an invite to your friends, business partners, colleagues to join you. So they will do the same thing. They will come to that website, URL, create their avatar, and start interacting with them in the metaverse. There'll be loads of fun, loads of learnings, and this is a good place for you to get to know what the metaverse is all about. You don't need fancy Oculus glasses, nothing. You just need to take this initiative of experiencing meetings in the metaverse. Okay, so we are actually out of time, but I will go around the room one more time with a very simple, actually we should take some audience questions. Okay, so anybody has questions for our panelists? Any questions? Go ahead, please. Can we get your mic? Yeah.
I have one question. If you want to work in Metaverse, like create Metaverse or do Metaverse, do we need to know how to make coding?
Okay, good question. I'll answer first and then you answer. Okay, so like he said, there is a WordPress now for Metaverse. Metaverse is becoming very easy to create any experience. You can, for example, create an experiential shopping store in the Metaverse without knowing any coding. It's almost intuitive, plug and play. In other words, there are templates where you can select which design appeals to you. Then you can place your branding there, your products there. It already has a backend like Shopify for e-commerce. So it's becoming easier and easier. In the beginning, yes, this did not exist. You had to build your own. But I know even in Walt Hill, it's relatively easy to set up shop, right? So Jimmy, talk us through.
So I'll do it in two. I'll answer your question in two forms. One, because you talked about coding, let's look at the technical aspect of it, right? So in your Web 2 world, a lot of the applications run on Java, SQL, PHP, and all of that, right? In your Web 3 world, from a game engine perspective, you start to look at C++, C#. From a blockchain perspective, you start to look at Solidity and Rust for Solana. So yes, there's a similarity, but there might be a learning curve. So if you're a traditional coder and you know how to do C++ and C#, transitioning into Web3 Metaverse through Unity on Unreal would not be challenging. Now, if we look at it from a practical perspective, another use case like a marketing expert, for example, In your Web 2 world, you're familiar with, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. In your Web 3 world, you start to look at Discord, you start to look at Telegram, starting to understand the same concept, which are transferable skills, but different applications. So to answer your question, yes, it is a little bit similar, but there's always a learning curve. And as human beings, we need to always learn and evolve as well.
Okay, thanks, Jimmy. I hope that answers your question, yeah? We'll take one more question from the audience and then we have to wrap up. Oh, we have many hands up. I don't know who to go to. That gentleman there, in front of me. Yeah. All others, you can come to us after this session at the back of that side. I'll be available with our panelists and we'll be happy to answer your questions. Okay. Go ahead, please.
From business of point.
I can't hear you.
From business point.
Yeah.
How much it is useful for a small business to open a Metaverse shop? How much it is useful for a small business to open Metaverse shop and start making business on Metaverse?
Okay. Ahmed?
Just to get your question right, how much it costs?
No, not cost. How much it is useful as ROI? For example, if I want to invest in Metaverse shop for a certain business, how much it will cost me and what expected ROI?
I see.
For private sectors, not government.
Yeah, I mean, it really depends on the industry. Like, what kind of industry you're running? Like,
let's say construction solutions, smart homes, home automations, such like.
Okay. To be more specific, it really depends on the use case that you want to run in the metaverse. Are you going to use it like a social media platform to build a community, or are you going to use it for training for employees?
To generate a business on actual land.
So you want to sell? You want to sell products?
I want to sell my services, exactly. I want to sell, let's say I am working on a smart home solutions and I want to sell my services through Metaverse to people who are interested in this business. Or I have another business related to education. How much it is useful for me? How much is the expected ROI if I run such a business through Metaverse?
To be honest, like my opinion for to get an ROI for like a small business, I don't think it would be much useful, to be honest.
Okay.
Because right now it's still like an early adoption phase. Not everyone and it also depends on what platform do you choose. Again, so if for example you choose an open metaverse where there's already like a community and public, and you just buy a land and put your service, this is maybe could be really useful for you. Because it depends on the platform, what platform you choose. And because also it doesn't need much investment. And but if you choose maybe to build your own private metaverse kind of space, then this sounds like you're kind of building a YouTube channel where you need to bring viewers to your channel.
Okay.
I hope you get the difference.
I'm going to go to Leila because she can perhaps explain it to you in very easy terms, right?
Yeah, I guess right now I don't necessarily agree with your view. I think right now businesses are leveraging the metaverse for two main reasons: to improve customer experience and generate revenue growth. So those are the ROIs which you can get by entering the metaverse in the simplest form. So the ROI you will get depends on how well you've chosen your metaverse and how well you're able to convey your values and what you represent through that experience, and how well you can retain those customers engaged and loyal to your brand. And by doing this, it can really improve customer engagement, customer loyalty. So I think there's many benefits to do that, and you can reach a wider target audience and generate new revenue growth by selling virtual clothes or virtual items tied to the physical ones. In my simplest terms.
Yeah, just to add to that, in the metaverse, you have to think of ROE first, return on engagement. After that comes ROI, because metaverse is still in early days, right? It's not yet matured. It'll take a few years. At that time, you will see ROI. But right now, you should start considering building a community around your brand or product or service, whatever it is. Because I can give you an example. The European Union spent 400,000 euros building something in the metaverse, and only 5 people showed up. no ROI, right? So that tells you a story, which means start building a community of people who believe in your brand and convert those consumers into fansumers. They should become your brand ambassadors. And this is the time to invest in that. So you don't have to necessarily start with building in the metaverse first. You could take a strategy of building a community first. That's what I would advise you. But of course, we can have a conversation after this.
Can I just jump in 2 seconds, please?
Go ahead, yeah.
So I agree with some of this, but I don't agree in all of it. To your point, at Vault Hill, we start at $5,000, and we already have a use case where someone had spent about $7,000 to create a metaverse within our space, and they made a return on investment of 13%. So they brought in their goods, they sold it, and they were able to recover the same 7,000 with an extra bit of profit. So I think for small businesses, it depends on the use case. You know, some of the KPIs the guys mentioned around engagement, you know, it depends on what you're after. If you're into retail and you want to sell, you know, Nike shoes, then your ROI or your KPIs are way more different from a construction company where you want to enhance the experience of buying flats or apartments. So it all depends on the use case. So you can make money in the metaverse now. People are already making money, but the perception about it is, you know, again, it's a new technology. And, you know, while Sharad gave the example about the government that spent 400,000, it wasn't marketed properly. I gave the example of this event. You know, if you and I weren't invited, we wouldn't be here. But the stage will be set up and the money will have been spent. So there's that misconception about the metaverse we need to address. And, you know, I just wanted to call that out real quick.
Yeah, thanks, Jimmy. We are out of time. And I want to thank these amazing panelists, each one of you, for being here, for contributing. We can, each one of us, talk for hours at length about this topic because there's so much to share. But feel free to catch any of us after this. We'll be somewhere there. And like I said before, at 3 p.m., I'm in one of those rooms talking about Metaverse for business, use cases. Metaverse is for every industry, every geography. All of you can participate. On that happy note, thank you for listening to us, and see you on the other side. Bye-bye.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's give it up for our panelists. A round of applause, please, for Sharad Agarwal, for Ahmed Tamimi, for Crystal, for Jimmy, and for Leila. Thank you very much, people. That was absolutely fantastic.